Right, so I haven't filmed in actually a month now. A lot of people think that I've been filming all this time because I release videos. I've just been releasing videos that I filmed, some time ago. And that's kind of how a lot of people do their YouTube. When they get their supplies, they film a bunch of videos on different weekends. You got 7, 8 videos, and you have your videos done, and then you release them. And that's really what's been going on here. I've had a lot of people that found out I was sick, and it's like, hey, it's good to see you're back. You're feeling better, because I released old videos. But really, I'm not. But I am going to try to film now. And it's been the first time in about a month. But really what this is all about is something very, very personal to me. Something that happened to me. I experienced my first road rage incident. And it was not something that I had really anything to do with. There was a person that... they were going down the road and they were slamming on their brakes into oncoming traffic. They were weaving at other vehicles. They were doing all this stuff that was absolutely insane. And when I got up to them, they weaved off the road and then they tried to hit me. So I laid on my horn and sped up so they don't hit me. Then they started chasing me, weaving at me, slamming on the brakes to make smoke, to spin their tires out and getting right up on my bumper. It looked at one point like some guy might have had something in his hand, like possibly a firearm. I really couldn't tell at that point. But it was pretty frightening because you could tell that something was completely off about this person. It's not even on a level that you would consider mental illness. It is like absolutely suicidal. They don't care about anything. And they're trying to run me off the road. They were chasing me, run me off the road, tried to run me off the road several times. And at that moment, all I could think of was defensive driving. I didn't call the police, but once I turned, I had a private residence that I was going to go to. I was going to not pull in that and keep going and drive towards the police department and call the police at that point. But they decided after about 5 miles of chasing to turn off and spin out and go the other direction. But it got me to thinking because I was pretty scared. The first thought though was defensive driving, but the second thought was pretty much the only thing I carry on me on a daily basis is my 6-shot revolver, .327 Federal Magnum, and I absolutely think this is perfectly fine for the most part. I'm not one of those people that's going to be like, oh, I have a 20% hit ratio. If I'm on flat footing in a normal situation, I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to make those hits. I'm going to be close to 100% accurate with this. I don't really have any doubts about that. But as you're going down the road and you think about somebody pulling a gun on you, all this stuff, and you're thinking about if I had to fire from in the vehicle or if I had to jump out of the vehicle and then try to fire it, you realize very quickly that the hit percentage that you're pretty good at normally is going to really go down. I might not hit, the attacker at all, and I'm gonna have to try to do a reload on a revolver and all that. So I'm not saying that the revolver is a bad choice. I'm just saying that in that type of situation, I really would prefer something more. So in my state, there's no prohibited laws or anything like that towards carrying more than one firearm or carrying a firearm in your vehicle. However, in a vehicle it is considered concealed, so you do have to have a permit to carry that. And we're also limited to handguns. We can't carry rifles or shotguns like that in our passenger compartment. So I can carry a full-size handgun if I want to, along with whatever I'm carrying on person. And I thought, most of the time when I go somewhere, I am in my vehicle the majority of the time, so why not? Why am I not doing that? So I've created a whole compartment, perfectly secure and all that, very accessible. But the thought was, what's the best choice? What's the best caliber? What's the best ammo? All that stuff if I had to defend myself in that situation. And I pretty much have the same idea that I had a year ago. It's going to be 40 Smith & Wesson. I think 40 Smith & Wesson is a very good caliber. If you look at a lot of the stopping power statistics, a lot of the real world statistics, it does a lot better than something like 9mm. Aside from like 9mm plus P plus, stuff like that, 9mm tends to have a hard time stopping people when they're absolutely crazed like that. If you watch a lot of the police activity videos and stuff like that, you'll see that. And if you watch some of them, they're known to use like 40 Smith & Wesson. I think Houston still does. I believe San Francisco still does. What you'll see is less shots fired and suspects dropping a lot quicker. So I still believe that the 40 Smith & Wesson is a better choice. Now I could have went with the .357 SIG barrel in this and carried, gold dot .357 SIG, and that would have been very, very capable. However, our pistols are registered in my state, so I don't really want to get in that gray area of, hey, I got into a shooting, police have my gun, I have a registered 40 Smith & Wesson, but I shot somebody with a 357 SIG. I don't want to get into that. So I would prefer 40 Smith & Wesson. So I'm going to do a test today and see what the better ammo is. Now, I could have went with like Winchester Defender, Winchester Bonded, Winchester T-Series. Some of that's okay. But I decided, you know what? The two classic rounds, I guess they're not really classic, but the two best rounds most people respect are going to be Speer Gold Dot and they're going to be Federal HST. Now, I went with 165 grain in both of these, and the reason why is because in my particular pistol, a 5-inch barrel here, I find that the 165 grain to be the best weight. Now, if I had like a 4-inch barrel, I might say that 155 or 135 might be a little bit better because we have, you know, the velocity needed to get it bullet expansion. I don't care so much for 180 grain because even if you got good expansion and penetration with 180 grain, there's a lot of different rounds that I've seen through testing that actually don't expand, and it seems to be like it's less likely to get a failure to expand with the 165 grain. And plus 165 grain has a lot of mass and momentum, so what I've seen with most 165 grains is you get a really good energy dump out of a 5-inch barrel, just kind of like a 357 Magnum. It really dumps it, and it tends to stop, you know, 13, 14 inches like a 357 Magnum because it has a lot of mass to that bullet still, so it penetrates pretty well. So Federal HST and Speer Gold Dot, these are going to be what I'm going to test, and I'm going to see what the better round is between these two. I think, you know, one's probably going to be better than the other, but they will probably tend to both be pretty good. Speer Gold Dot here, 165 grain, Federal HST, 165 grain. Bullet construction is quite a bit different with these. Our Speer Gold Dot, it's basically a plated bullet, but it's not the same as a plated bullet. Like a typical plated bullet, you just have a thin layer of copper. This thing is plated, but it's plated a whole bunch of times to where it's pretty much comparable to an actual copper jacket. A lot of plating. So that process of that plating, a bunch of copper on that lead, means that it is bonded to that lead core. You cannot get jacket separation with this. It's chemically bonded to that. So you're never going to get jacket separation with that. However, the jacket is a little bit less tough than others. Now with our Federal HST, you have a much tougher jacket. However, this is not bonded. But what it is it has a very tough, strong mechanical band on that bullet. I've never seen Federal HST have jacket separation because of that mechanical band. So for all intents and purposes, this is a bonded bullet, even though it's technically not a bonded bullet. So, you know, I'm going to test it in a ballistic gel test with and without denim and medium density fiber bore, see which one shoots a little bit better for me and all of that, and see what the better choice is. Because I think both of these are going to be pretty good choices, but if one seems to be a little bit better than the other, I'm going to choose that as my carry ammo in this pistol. Now, I have been carrying this in the vehicle, but I don't have a lot of 40 Smith & Wesson ammo. You know, I have some 180 grain HSTs. I think I have like 7 or 8 of those, and then the rest of the mag is full of just basic, I think it's Federal Train Protect 180 grain jacketed hollow point. So I really did need to pick up this ammo to have a good ammo, but I thought, why not get 2 of the best, see what the best ammo is. So let's head out to the range, test this stuff, see how well it does, see which one does better for me. All right, time to test that Federal HST versus Speer Gold Dot in my 5-inch pistol. So 165 grain for both. I'm not even sure if there's a rated velocity on these boxes. I actually didn't look it up either, but let me take a look here. There's nothing listed for our Speer Gold Dot. And let me take a look here at our Federal HST box. And there is velocity ratings of 1130 feet per second. So decent velocity. So we're going to go through the chronograph, see what kind of velocity and accuracy we get at the same time. Then I'm going to hit my 10% clear ballistic gel block here. And I get the same question all the time. Whenever people see snow, they say, what's the temperature of your block? And I say, oh, about 72 degrees in the inside because it's synthetic gel, and they freak out, say it needs to be like 35 degrees. And I try to explain to them it's clear ballistics. And then when I say it is clear ballistics, because they see the snow, they assume that the inside of that block is frozen
but let me tell you, when you bring a block out that's been in your house in 72-degree weather, you only chill about the first inch of this. It remains very warm, and Clear Ballistics is temperature stable between 32 degrees Fahrenheit and 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's going to perform the same right now as it will in summer. So I just thought I'd clear that up because I get that comment so much once people see snow. And after that, I'm going to shoot up my steel silhouette to see what kind of practical accuracy I can get, see which one shoots a little better for me. So let's get started with this test. All right, I'm about 5 yards from the target, 4 yards from the chronograph. I did look up the velocity for our Speer Gold Dot. It is rated at 1150 feet per second, and the HST is 1130. So Speer Gold Dot, let's run this, see what we get, see how close we get to 1150 feet per second. 1106, 1102, 1099. No read. Let me try to run one more here. 1130. That one is a little bit closer to rated velocity, but nowhere near overall close to rated velocity. So Federal HST, this is rated slower at 1130 feet per second. Let's see what I get here. I'll read. This ammo does not want to read. 1084, 1082, 1068. So definitely our Speer Gold Dot is a little bit faster, but I am kind of disappointed that both were significantly below the rated velocities. So let's hit our ballistics gel block, see how these compare. All right, so this is going to be our best potential shot. I'm just going to go into plain clear ballistics, and then after that I'm going to put on 4 layers of denim and put in a 1/4 inch medium density fiberboard to represent hitting ribs or sternum. But let's see what we get here with our best potential shot here. Plain clear ballistics. Here's our Speer Gold Dot. All right. Now we'll try our Federal HST here. Plain clear ballistics. See how this compares. All right, let's go take a look. All right, so I am seeing very similar performance, a very similar amount of damage going on there. The glare might be kind of hard for you guys to see it, but the entrance in that first 3 inches is about the same size. It looks like the HST has slightly larger energy dump right about here. The Gold Dot's a little bit less. Our penetration though looks to be about the same now. We had a little bit bounce back with our Gold Dot, but our penetration is 15 inches with our Speer Gold Dot. When we look at our Federal HST, our penetration again is 15 inches. So very similar. Let's put on our denim and put on our MDF, see how they compare more of our real world simulation. All right, we have our Speer Gold Dot through 4 layers of denim, 3 inches of clear ballistics, a 1/4 inch MDF. Let's see how our Speer Gold Dot does. All right, let's set that back up and try the HST now. All right, same thing, Federal HST. See what we get. Let's go take a look. All right, so here is our medium density fiberboard. It does look like the Gold Dot actually seems like it made a bigger hole going in than the HST. However, there's a significant difference here. Our Speer Gold Dot did arc down for some reason once we got over here. It was losing so much steam that I don't think if I shot it again, we'd see anything really any different going on there. It stopped right at 19 inches in the bottom of that block. Now what I am seeing here, you know, we have kind of similar damage going in here, but what I am seeing that I am liking a little bit better here with this Federal HST is it tended to dump the energy a little bit better. More consistent energy dump and tearing right there. And instead of getting 19 inches, we got about 15.5 inches. So not a lot different between the MDF shot and denim versus our plain gel shot. So for me, I actually think that the Federal HST looks a little bit better here, even though we had a little bit less velocity. So let me shoot at steel, see what kind of practical shootability I can get with these. All right, so taking a look at these bullets here, there is some differences here. Now when we go in our plain gel here, our Spear Gold Dot, that's a beautiful flowered expansion. However, our Federal HST, I would say, is a little bit bigger. And we have these nice sharp hard petals on there that the Gold Dot really doesn't have. They're kind of, you know, dull. So I would say our HST did a little bit better here in our plain gel. Now we go through our MDF. This is a big difference here. This is our Gold Dot, you know, and this is what you kind of get when you don't have a lot of tough copper on there. You know, we have a really good plating that is very thick, but you lose a lot of that diameter going through our medium density fiberboard and denim. Our Federal HST almost looks as if it was in plain gel. Very tough jacket here that flowered out, and just, you know, this definitely shows why it stopped so shallow in our MDF and this one went so deep. So we have a lot more energy dump with our Federal HST. So even though the Gold Dot has a little more energy, I honestly think our Federal HST is a little bit more superior. Both are good. I would carry both, to be honest, but I would think our HST here is a little bit better. All right, so I'm 12 yards from the target. This is one of my favorite drills because the Illinois State Police came up with this, that through their studies, if officers could make impacts, most of the time they were not injured themselves. Any closer than 12 yards, they sometimes took on being shot. So Spear Gold Dot, I'm gonna see what the overall feel is for me from 12 yards with our Spear Gold Dot here. All right, I feel pretty confident with that. Not really aiming particularly well, just getting a nice sight picture. But that's, you know, part of my training. I like to get sight pictures, not much sight picture, and just kind of pop them off. So Federal HST, I'm gonna do the same thing here. All right, so not a huge difference. It seemed like to me anyways that the Federal HST may have recoil less by like 3 or 4% less felt recoil. It's not significant. It's like what we saw in the velocities, you know, Gold Dot being probably averaging 1110, 1120 feet per second. Our HST averaging like 1080. So to me, it felt like just a tad more shootable to me for the Federal HST. So really what I'm seeing here when I look at this test is I could go with either one of these and feel 100% confident. Both of them did extremely well. But to me, it looks like the Federal HST just a hair better for me. A little bit less felt recoil, more energy dump. I like that it has a harder jacket if you have to defeat like a hard barrier. So I'll probably go with the Federal HST here as my truck gun load. So that's what you get today. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.